So I don't usually cover wrestling, but Ronda Rousey had a hot take that I just had to bring up. So Ronda Rousey says she won't return to WWE full-time. She's going to go ahead and blame ungrateful fans. So I looked into this a little bit, and so here's what happened. She used to be a big deal in the UFC. She pioneered the women's division over in the UFC. Can't take that away from her. She was actually a big deal over there. She had a really good streak. People would tune in, buy pay-per-views to see her fight. She built that division on merit and talent. Nobody sees women's fighting in the UFC as a joke, and a lot of that is largely due to her, and you can't take that away from her. But, as with everybody in fighting, eventually your time just runs out. And she was done. She recognized it. She left. She took some money and went and did wrestling. So she went to the WWE, decided to kind of follow Brock Lesnar, who did the same thing. His time was up as well. He was done. Had a tremendous run. And I don't know how many of you out there watch UFC. I like UFC. Brock Lesnar had a really good run. Went in there with pretty much no background and dominated for a minute. And then he got sick and came back and just was never really the same. He just was never the same again. But he went over there and did it. A couple of wrestlers have. The biggest flop was CM Punk, who just got destroyed. But I'm getting off topic. So she went to WWE, decided to wrestle. And from when I was looking into it, at the beginning of her career in WWE, fans were excited to see her there. She was getting a lot of cheers and people were happy. And then as time went on, she got mixed reactions. And she didn't appreciate that. Basically, what I see here is a bruised ego. Like, she thought she was going to come in and get Brock Lesnar treatment from the fans, and they were going to love her, and that didn't quite happen, even though, from what I understand, Brock Lesnar has a mouthpiece, and I forget that guy's name, and that guy kind of picks him up because Brock Lesnar doesn't have much charisma. He's all fists, So she didn't get the reactions that she wanted. She wasn't instantly loved, and people just didn't care for her, it seemed. That's what I got doing a little bit of research for this video. So they didn't like her, so now they're ungrateful pieces of garbage. And she's leaving. And who knows if she'll come back. She leaves open the possibility that she could come back and do it part-time, but I think she's done. Sounds like she wants to start a family and just settle down. She says she doesn't need the money, which I do believe. So let's go over this. It's not very long. It says, if Ronda Rousey ever returns to WWE, the former Raw Women's Champion says it won't be in a full-time capacity. And she says, ungrateful wrestling fans are to blame. On the latest episode of The Wild Ride with Steve-O, I guess Steve-O has a podcast. Everybody's got a podcast nowadays. I should start one or something. Rousey talked about working for WWE and the type of schedule she had on the road. I love the WWE. I had such a great time. I love all the girls in the locker room, Ronda said. Running out there and having fake fights for fun is just the best thing. I love choreography. I love acting. I love theater. Live theater and some of the last forms of live theater. But I was basically part-time and I was away from home 200 days out of the year. And when I did get home, I was so sleep deprived because you just don't have time to lay down. And that is something that I hear a lot. That, you're basically on the road all the time, even if you're part-time. But I don't know how much she was working. Like I said, I don't really follow wrestling that much. I used to be a big fan when I was younger, but I just kind of fell out of it. I look into it here or there whenever, The Rock pops up or something. I know Stone Cold is still involved, but I don't think he even really wrestles. I think because he didn't break his neck or something. If he wrestles, he might become paralyzed. So, it's just not really for me anymore. But I know a lot of people do still love it, and I think that's fine. Whatever you enjoy, I don't really have a problem with. I don't like seeing these takes. I think it's disrespectful to crap on the fans, especially if they just didn't like your performance. It's just has a lot of ego to me. You did a really good job in the UFC. People just didn't like you in here. I don't know why that makes them ungrateful, but we'll get into that. So Rousey goes on to say she learned she had a broken vertebrae in her lower back prior to signing with WWE during medical exams. So when she was home, she'd have to be laying down with a heat pad on her back with a Tempur-Pedic pillow under her neck the whole time. If I did all the live shows, I was only home a day and a half a week. It was just not worth It was just not worth it for my family because we were eliminating all of our expenses and living this lifestyle. We didn't need it. We didn't need the money. Ronda continued, and I do believe that she's got a ton of money, and as long as and I'm sure she saved a lot of it. She's doing just fine, and she's still doing other things. She's doing movies here and there. I know she was just on some shows. So she's got lots of money, not to mention whatever the hell WWE paid her. And her husband, Travis Brown, is still active in the UFC. So, she's doing just fine. But anyway, here's the hot take. So it's just like, what am I doing it for if I'm not being able to spend my time and energy on my family, but instead spending my time and my energy on a bunch of effing ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me? I love performing. I love the girls. I love being out there. But at the end of the day, I was just like, F these fans, dude. My family loves me and they appreciate me, and I want all my energy to go into them. So this was my decision at the end of the day. It's like, hey, girls, love what you're doing, but I'm going to try and take all my momentum and push you guys as far as I can. Fly, little birds. I'm going effing home, and that was basically it. Rousey ends this portion of the conversation by saying if she does ever return to the WWE, it will not be in full-time capacity, only short chunks of time. It sounds like she'll be going back as a heel, because after this hot take, there's no way she could ever be a babyface character in the WWE. And if you don't know what that means, babyface are the good people and heels are the bad people. There's no way they'll let this go. This is going to run through the community. There's just no way people will let this go. And when it goes back to a live capacity, which it eventually will, right now they're doing this stuff in like closed sets, which is really strange. I watched one the other day. I watched like a match on YouTube, or maybe it was a clip from WrestleMania, and you can hear all the little noises on the mats and stuff, and it just sounds so weird. You're not used to it because you're used to the crowd that's there, and it just didn't go over very well. It was strange. Live sports is just strange without the crowd. And I know you can make the argument that, there's plenty of places where there's only 3 or 4 people in a gym or whatever watching these people, but it's just this isn't an amateur hour. This is the big time. So anyway, in another little piece I read, it sounded like that she wants to just start a family with her husband and she wants to have kids. I mean, she's at the right time to do it. I mean, she's got so much money. As long as she's not blowing it all off, she never has to work again in her life. And that's just how it is. She never has to work a day again in her life. But if she wants to go back to WWE, I don't think she's going to get a good reception from the people, because that is just not the right attitude to have when it comes to people and, embracing fans. You just can't do this. And there's a lot of industries that have been doing this lately. Like, let's just tell fans they're pieces of trash. And it's a lot of entitlement and a lot of ego and a lot of narcissism. And I'm pretty sure that she has a humongous ego. I don't know anything about her, how she is. She seems like an all right chick. I mean, I like that she's a big Dragon Ball fan. I always liked that about her. And I respect her career in the UFC, but this was a bad look, Ronda. You probably should have kept that part to yourself. There's already a bunch of outlets talking about this. And, now if you go back to WWE, like I said, you're going to have to play a heel, which I don't think that is beyond you. So we'll see. But anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think. What do you think about this hot take? How do you feel about this? Aren't you tired of elites and celebrities and athletes just looking down on you? I'm kind of sick of it, and I don't care for it. So let me know your thoughts on this. Also, throw a like up if you would. Share the video. That would be tremendously cool. Also, make sure you're still subscribed. That's very important. Subscribe if you're new. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment, make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.